Hi guys. Today we're going to talk about a novel full of contradictions and twists. In the novel, there's a plot where Leila is threatened into drugging the female protagonist's drink. Instead of getting angry at Leila as expected, things take a sudden turn. When the female protagonist is questioning, Caden steps in and resorts to violence against Leila. The female protagonist's reaction is also unexpected. As a loyal Omega, Leila is treated this way. What secrets are hidden behind this? And how will the female protagonist resolve this crisis? Next, let's step into the fascinating world of this novel together. 13. The first appearance. You bitch. What did you spike her drink with? Caden snarled, his aggressive nature on full display as he lunged towards me, violently knocking the glass from my hand. The sound of shattering glass echoed through the room like a gunshot. Hey. What the hell? I cried out, my eyes darting to the glittering shards scattered across the floor. A commotion drew my attention back up, and I watched in horror as Caden, true to his violent personality, wrapped his hand around Leila's delicate neck, slamming her against the counter top. The timid Omega gasped desperately, her innocent eyes wide with fear and pain as she struggled for air. Release her now, I commanded, my voice laced with protective fury as I attempted to channel my Luna authority. I grabbed at Caden's jacket, knowing it was a futile gesture against his beta strength, but driven by my growing frustration at the injustice before me. Leila's airs and her diminutive frame only heightened my sense of outrage. Disgust twisted my features as I observed the scene. Leila, the ever-faithful and hardworking Omega, treated like a slave despite her unwavering dedication, contrasted sharply with Caden, the spoiled and impure beta who was inexplicably revered. The universe's twisted logic sickened me to my core. Though both had dark eyes, Leila's were small and brimming with tears, radiating an innocence I never expected to find in this harsh environment. Leila's futile attempts to push Caden away only emphasized the power imbalance between them. Her struggles against his grip were heartbreaking to witness. Caden, I gave an order. I commanded again, this time allowing June's powerful presence to surge through me. My voice, now unrecognizable even to myself, reverberated off the walls with a deep, menacing snarl. I could feel my pupils pulsing beneath my eyelids, hungry for obedience and desperate to restore order to this chaotic situation. The second the ring from my voice came to a halt, Caden released Leila, her body slumping down from against the counter and now arched over gagging for air while trying to soothe her bruised throat with one hand. Soon after, as an aftermath, came a sharp pounding sensation in the back of my head, making me hiss from pain but while trying to suppress it. I drew in about 3 deep breaths before proceeding. My eyes returned to their normal gentle state, but my hand still trembled from the sensation of power rushing through my cells like an addiction. Regardless of getting a taste of power for less than 45 seconds, it still felt as if I had been reunited with something lost in my own DNA. I, as always, shake off my thinking and don't think twice before returning back to reality. I rushed up to Leila, rubbing her back softly, helping her lung expand as she inhaled and exhaled, and while doing so, I passed a glare to Caden, who still had his eyes narrowed down on Leila. What the hell was that for? I feel June's control slowly deteriorating away as my breath pitches up, coming out hard from my lungs. Forgive, me Luna. Leila choked, brushing her tangled hair away from her face. I was threatened to spike our drink. What do you mean? My attention diverted from Caden, who was too busy cursing, to Leila, arched over coughing. Who in the fuck told you to? Caden lashed out, pinching her cheeks with his hand, his claws threatening to appear. Just say their bloody name, and see what I do to them. I backed up a step while he straightened his and her spine, still latched onto her tear-scarred face. His face dropped another couple of degrees while his eyes rose a couple. I felt awful just seeing him to Leila, making me want to scream and to this, but my own dark curiosity restrained me back. I wanted answers. No, I demanded answers. They locked eyes, Caden's furious black eyes gradually narrowing into her twinkling eyes, putting Leila into a sort of trance in which her body sort of relaxed. She didn't fight nor struggle, but instead stared off as if she was gazing stars in the middle of the night. Her eyes glazed off calmly, but not long after I hear Caden curse. Their eye contact shatters along with his restraint on her wrist, releasing her freely. After leaving her wrist, she runs into my arms, crying and pleading for forgiveness. I felt bad for blocking her out and for focusing my attention to Caden, wondering what made him change. He mutters a number of different curses and what seemed like it alien to me, but soon I catch one name that always came associated along with the curses. Who's Stephanie? He's silent himself but doesn't turn to me, nor does he answer back. I squeeze Leila against my body, cooing a wide range of words from "it's okay," and "I forgive you" to "it's not your fault nor your mistake." I lose track of Caden while cooing Leila, making me unaware when he exited the room. I hiss some seriously ladylike curses that I knew my brothers would instantly disapprove of. I returned to assuring Leila I wasn't angry, and prayed that she would stop soon before anyone else could see us, a Luna hugging an Omega, and I wasn't saying it for my sake. I was saying it for Leila's. Her neck was enough evidence for me. They were ruthless just as people viewed them. I didn't want them to harass Leila anymore, and especially if it did me involved, because if it did, then Damon would have been involved too, making it a lot more worse. Eventually Leila regained herself quite quickly than I imagined, wiping her tears and giving her usual warm smile, which was a bit weak but good enough for me. Before I knew it, there was a lingering question left on the tip of my tongue, to which I didn't have courage to ask her badly. Had Leila done this before? Maybe not once, but numerous times. The way she efficiently wiped, dried, and smiled if it never happened was shockingly a fast recovery. Had she gained this skill over the years of being an Omega? My throat went to dry to ask. Instead I smile, with the thought still haunting me in the back of my head. "Thank you, my Luna." "For?" I asked while she patted the area under her eyes with her sleeve. "For forgiving me for what I did. I didn't mean to spike your drink. I was forced," she said, her eyes going glassy again from the memory. Leila. It's fine. You don't owe me an explanation. I can't imagine what pressure and hardship you have to go through just because you're an Omega. In our pack we treat tone gaze like family, but over here, it's apparently not the same. It's different, I realized. I reply. She tilts her face up to me, her gentle eyes closely studying mine. "What's wrong? Do I have something on my teeth?" "Oh no, my Luna. Your teeth are perfectly fine." She shakes her head, stumbling over a laugh. "It's just I'm curious on how did the Alpha get you as a mate? Please don't get me wrong. The Alpha, HES, unique. But what I'm more curious about is how did he get a mate like you who's kind, merciful, caring, and lovable when HES the direct opposite?" I say on her behalf. She hesitates but nods her head in agreement afterwards. "Don't worry. I wonder the same too." I sigh heavily. "You could change him," she said, taking me by surprise. "There's been some talk in the pack ever since the Alpha met you and announced to marry you." "What type of talk?" I asked, raising an eyebrow, my stomach now doing somersaults. She smiled softly, brushing some long hair back. "You know the Alpha as good as anyone else, and we all know for a fact he would never take a girl by his side and claim her as his significant other without spending at least one night with her." I cringe at the way she uses significant other, as if it's a positive thing instead of a death wish. "But ever since you came and he agreed to marry you, people have been saying HES changing, to which some extent I also agreed on. He practically and blindly agreed on marrying you, making you the Luna to the largest pack in North America, without spending a single night with you. Don't you find that a bit odd?" she asked. My words disappear as frightening scenarios fill my mind. Why did he make the Luna of the largest pack in North America without spending a night with me? As my heart rate excels, she adds, "Even though you're his Luna, he still hasn't mated with you." I stare back up, my mouth hanging wide, speechless lie. I can't deny it or either agree with it. "How do you?" I gulp after recover some words. She shrugged. "Your scent would have changed slightly, having a hint of the Alphas along with yours. You wouldn't have noticed it even." Only others could. Maybe he wants scheming on the best possible way to torture me. So HES withdrawing for now, I exclaim, making her snort. A cold laugh rings out from the door, making Leila flinch, but I remain frozen, rolling my eyes. Damon withdrawing from his own mate. Never though it live the day to see that. He smirks. That's just absurd. And you know it as much as I do. Caden points with his flask, eyeing me darkly while taking a sip. I hear Leila whimper by my side, making me want to assure her HES nothing more than a mean old bully. I snort again, making my vision go dizzy for a sec, and which gradually changed into a minute before clearing. I move my hand so one goes to hold my head as my other hand holds when to grasp the countertop. I feel a sting run across my forearm, along with some blood giving me no time to wince. Minutes fly by, but the dizziness doesn't leave. Instead increases at a rapid rate. The body tenses up by me. I sense it, holding my injuries left arm while I hear loud orders from a male, most likely Caden, echoing through the room. Tears escape my eyes, stinging my cheeks with its warmth while the world around me spun. Shut up, Caden. I shriek, covering my ears with my hands. The hand that was holding my injured arm slips away from my hand as I escalade down the lower cabinet. High, pitch blood-curdling howls suddenly fill my ears, threatening to make my ears bleed. Just when the howls were starting to die down and as my breathing was returning back to its normal rate, another growl louder than before erupts, destroying the peaceful silence. I squeeze my eyes again, hugging my hands around my waist, begging for the noises to stop. It was like a part of me was dying internally, caused that's how bad my head ached. I hear another loud growl ring out in the atmosphere, creating the taunt ambience. My hormones felt as if they were high, making a twisted sensation of emotions rush within me. I could hear some whispers from a distance creep into my ear, blending in with the sounds of someone's cry. My eyes refuse to open as they blind the world out, making my own personal bubble of darkness. Minutes or seconds fly by. I was unable to distinguish the difference, for they seemed to be as stretched out hours nevertheless. Just when my heat rate was starting to calm down again, sparks blew up from around my waist and from under my knees. I winced for pain as I was thrown against someone's chest, with sparks now literally sizzling against my entire left side of my erective clothes. It's Ryan. It has to be. I tell myself as my eyes peel open slowly. The light shines from behind the person, making it hard to tell who it was. Whoever they were, they had a nice crisp jawline with a bit of softness around their cheeks, with smooth, delicate-looking hair parted to one side. My hand fell on his hard chest, just below collarbone, with my head lazily slumped against his firm shoulder. My eyes hadn't had fully adjusted to the lightning, making me grow desperate to reconfirm it was indeed Ryan. My lovable brother Ryan. The same brother who wouldn't hesitate on buying me books whenever I asked for it, the same brother who would kiss my head goodnight from the time since I could remember and would snuggle with me whenever I would see those horrid nightmares. I wanted to ask June to reconfirm with her wolf bond that it was indeed Gray, Ryan's wolf, and that it was his presence making the sparks erupt, my body yearning for his hug. RRYY. I was too weak to go on. Ryan, I miss you so much, and you have no idea how much I wanted to embrace you. That was what I wished to say, but couldn't. My vocals cords were over, used by my crying and gone rough. The one slim pricking pain slowly degraded itself into a nothing more than a dull soreness, starting my toes, expanding its reach to my head, until it has overcome my conscious, swallowing it whole. For Team the Lost Luna. God, I hiss, struggling to maintain my unconscious. I felt dead. Like literally dead. After God knows how long I had awakened. Nausea hovering above me like a hawk, ready to peck every single strand of life from me. I found myself laying flat, back in Damon's depressing black and white room, in his bed, under his sheets. My head was resting on a soft yet high pillow that aided me spotting the IV cord that had attached itself to my inner forearm. My head throbbed from the remainder of the headache I had faced in the kitchen. Facing up to the ceiling, I cursed with all my might, hoping someone would take me out of my damn misery. Surprising. I hear the door swing open with the sight of Leila carrying in a tray that held only one single glass of orange juice. She eyes me curiously with her lips perfectly aligned. What language is that? French? I sigh. I'm sorry. I don't usually swear, but I swear this headache's murdering me. She smiles, revealing her perfect Cupid's bow. Don't worry. I hear a lot more than just swearing. You know. Anyway, you're lucky, I'd say. I immediately dart my eyes at her. Why is that? Are you stuck with a murderess? Rampaging. Untrustworthy mate who God knows how became an alpha and is Captain Control Freak. I snort while rubbing my eyelids. No, at least you have a second language in which I'd guess you're pretty good. I've always wanted to learn French instead of Italian. She places the tray by my bedside, dismissing my harsh words. Excuse me, I've always wanted to learn Italian. I exclaim, making her raise an eye. Well, as a witch, well, now you have a mate who runs an Italian pack. So I guess God dealt with that. She shrugged, making me frown at her. Not funny, Leila. I roll my eyes. Okay, fine. Sorry, my Luna. She smiles warmly. Here, let me help you up. The doctor said you need all the vitamin C you get. After what happened. She doesn't utter another word about what happened while helping me against the bedboard. To some extent I'm grateful, but to some I'm not. I somehow wiggle up with her help. Feeling like crap. She holds the glass, placing it to my hand, ushering me to gulp it down instantly. Oh, calm down, Leila. I'm drinking. I gulp it down, forcing it down my dry throat into the lowest pit of my stomach. Its bittersweet aftertaste makes my face twist as if I had sucked on a lemon, making Leila giggle childishly. I swear, that was most sour-ass thing I've ever shoved down my throat. I state, and after realizing how wrong it sounded I cringe, but she didn't seem to notice, leading me to rethink about how innocent she truly is. Well, witch, well, you needed it. She scolds me. I gesture with my head to the empty area by my bedside. She reluctantly takes the spot, fiddling with the sheets in front of her. She didn't know what to say, and neither did I, leading to an awkward silence beginning to settle in. What happened to me, Leila? I blurt out, causing her spine to stiffen. She pinches her lip together as if just resisting on something, avoiding my eyes. Please, I need to know. She inhales deeply through her nose. Remember when I was forced to spike your drink? Her voice quivering, coming out unsteady. I bite my lip, nodding silently. I was ready to bring this convo back up, especially now. Her eyes grew cold with remorse. I was forced to spike your drink with Wolfsbane, my Luna. I don't know it would love had such an awful effect on you. Honest. I was told it would just sedate your wolf for a while, making you tired and sleepy so you couldn't go and meet Damon. I wouldn't have done it knowing would have killed you or either your wolf. Please forgive me. She whispered the last part because of her eyes that had gone glassy from tears once more. I wiped them away while brushing her hair back afterwards. Hey, it's fine. I'm glad you did it, to be honest. I would have never wanted you get hurt just because of me. So please, no need of asking for forgiveness. She sniffs, making me reprocess her words. Does that mean June? Is she? Oh no. Luckily we brought the pack doctor just in time. After bringing you up here, he gave you sort of antidote that killed most of the effects of Wolfsbane before it could have permanently affect your wolf. This drippy view is the last bit of antidote. After it's finished, you go. She sighed happily, as if those words would lead her up whole if she hadn't had spoken them. I narrow my eyes. Did I just hear you right? I can go. Her brows widen in surprise, her pupils glowing. You don't know. As on cue, another figure appears from the door frame, his hands clear of his flask for now. So finally, our very own personal sleeping beauty has awoken from death's slumber yet again. Has she? He drawls, clapping his hands together. I swear to God. HES starting to get on my nerves. I snap, but later on remembering June's not here. I sigh tiredly and then reach out to grab onto Leila's wrist, preventing her from rising. She bites her lips, making me shake my head side to side. You don't have to give to him to every time, especially when I'm around. I wanted to say, but instead I gave my attention to Caden. What do you want now? I retorted swiftly, making Leila draw in a loud gasp. I ignore her, continuing to still glare at Caden. I was asking for your welfare, darling. Nothing too serious, he exclaims, placing a hand over his heart as if the words had wounded him in some way. I doubt calling me darling is in the job description of guarding me. I spit the word darling out as if it was poison ready to devour me. He smirks, his eyes twinkling with mischief. It wasn't in her job description to poison you either, was it? But yet you befriended her and Chess here. I cough. Whatever. At least she didn't threaten me on our first meeting like someone I know. My face hardens before I glare at him. He ignores me like he hadn't heard me. Well, since I'd already linked the pack doctor who should be arriving shortly, I suggest you think of a good enough excuse to tell your brothers about your hand after the ivy comes off. My brothers? I ask, taken back by his question. Why would I tell them anything? Oh right. Caden rolls his eyes sarcastically, thrusting his hands into his jeans pocket. You're still unaware about the RedBlood Tradition. What type of tradition? I ask briefly, eyeing Leila as well. She was still seated by me, but her hands were still fiddling with the stitch S of the sheet, her eyes hard on the fabric. The tradition in which the Luna of the blood red pack, meaning you, go back to your pack for a full 24 hours, he says with fake excitement, examining the walls rather than eating my glance. I can go back. I whisper, looking away. Yes, but for 24 hours only, he restates. Just when I was about to dance with glee, the cold truth washes up on me. All signs of delight drain out of my face, and then seconds later he adds, and no, Damon and Damon go with you. A wide smile lights up my face as I rose from against the bedboard. If it weren't for the ivy stuck in my vein, I would have jumped off the bed at the moment. Don't be too happy. It's not permanent. Caden snarls at my happiness. I figure that playing around with his foul mood could maybe lighten my mood in the process. I rose an eyebrow playfully. Oh, it's wrong, Caden. Had enough of me already. Is that why you went whining to the Alpha requesting for my transfer back? He stares at me, his cold eyes washing over me, trying to steady my face. No, it was me who requested this. As I told you earlier, it's ancient tradition carried out by every Luna of this pack. He restates frustratingly. Ancient. Like how old? I wonder out loud like a curious 5-year-old exploring the world. Do I look like a fucking history teacher to you that'll know the damn date? He grunts. I turn away hopelessly, remembering how desperately alone I really was here. Third generations. Leila murmurs, as if she was saying it to herself. As even Caden looks at her in shock, she simply shrugs. I like history. It started 39 generations ago. I ask, curiously. I may not be a history nerd, but that doesn't mean I'm not curious. She nods. It all started on the day the first Alpha, who formed this pack, had found his mate. Luna Scarlet was her name, I believe. He fell in love at first sight, but after she was brought to the pack, her younger sister died the exact same day because of a rouge that had ripped her heart out. The Alpha couldn't bear to see Luna Scarlet so heartbroken, so he demanded that she went back to her pack for an entire day. Luna Scarlet went, but sadly, she never came back. The rouge that killed the Luna's sister was the Luna's childhood friend and lover. Leila gazed up to glance at me, her eyes numbing. Luna Scarlet's father. The Alpha had him dismissed from the pack when he had gone out of his line for attempting to kidnap Luna Scarlet before her departure to her mate's back. He wanted revenge. Some said, but others said he was heartbroken. She went back, unknowingly about her rogue lover and faith ahead. She had an entire day here when the next morning the Omgeza went to receive her for breakfast. They found dead body in her room, draped in blood along with a silver stake to her heart. She killed herself from the grief of her sister, hardening her mates, the Alpha's heart in the process. The Pax blamed her rogue lover for her death, and her alpha mate, who was unaware of the truth, killed him in the most brutal way possible, making up the label for the Red Blood pack of the most ruthless pack ever. She pauses to catch her breath. His ruthless eventually became one of the reasons why his heart froze, making him the most heartless alpha ever. Luckily, he had a younger brother who managed to obtain the title and took charge of the pack when the alpha was unstable. He gradually regained the pack, and eventually the label of the most ruthless pack was still remembered. The alpha's brother developed the pack with love, and even when he found his mate, he told her to return to her pack for a day after bringing her here. He told her mate to the same in the honor of his sister-in-law, the true Luna of the pack. Luna Scarlet, who attempted to remain resilient in the darkest times and also to start a legacy for the future generations of alphas of the Red Blood pack, to help them in showing their mate's importance. Since then till now, Luna Scarlet's been referred to as the Lost Luna, because she was the only one who was able to make the alpha so lost that he ended up killed himself in her memory. While I was fascinated and even more curious, especially about Luna Scarlet when she was finished, Caden remained in his usual jerky way, scoffing at the end, clearly unamused. "Nice fairy tale you made up to tell your future kids, Leila," he said with icy indifference. She lowered her eyes in submission, making me want to slap Caden more than ever, but oblivious of my intentions. He continued to wear his smug little grin, widening by the second. "What happened to the first alpha? Leila, the one that went mad?" I whisper, swearing if Caden ruined this, I'd seriously consider stomping up to him and slapping him across the cheeks. Luckily, a call arrived, in which he has compelled to leave the room. I gaze at Leo with an encouraging smile, hoping it would lighten her mood with this rare opportunity of Kate and leaving abruptly. Her eyes rise, the sadness slowly replacing itself. Madness had driven him to the point where explaining things became useless, so cause of that he attempted suicide by jumping of a nearby cliff, in which he exceeded. Her twin king brown eyes left mine, back to the sheets for a while before up to my IV drip. "I really should check you. Good morning, my Luna." A deep voice echoes in the room. Leila flinches, breathing hard as she stands up while I gaze at the young gentleman that was walking in, trying to digest his flawless features. His son, kissed tan skin with high cheekbones and a mouth dropping, sharply dense jawline made him look in his early 20s, his perfectly almond-shaped emerald green eyes, rinsed with shine and ruffled, soft matte black hair. "Hope I didn't disturb," he asks, rising an eye after spotting Leila. A vein popped from against his skin when he crossed his forearms over his clinging gray waistcoat that was over his perfectly ironed black dress shirt. I hear a soft murmur which sounded like "Drive Rossi" escaped from Leila's trembling lips. Without looking at her, I continued to check the supposed doctor with calculating eyes. "Not at all. As a matter of fact, I was awaiting for you, doctor." He drew his sharp, narrowed eyes away from Leila back to me, the sunlight enhancing his features. "Drive Rossi, my Luna. How may I help you?" he said roughly, as if the words were forced out of him. I turned to Leila, who was staring at the ground, her hands shaking by her sides when I had an idea. "Leila, I think you should go for now. It'll be down shortly." I tug a smile on my lips. She looks up, her stressed expression lightening from relief. She nods timidly, and as she passed drive, "Rossi," I notice her eyes hesitate from looking up at him, but when their eyes met, the message was clear. They had history together, and by the looks of it, not a good one. He stared at her hardly until after her eyes popped up to his eyes glaring into hers with an intensive anger. I hear a whimper escape her mouth, most likely from fear, as she passes him, fleeing the scene. His glaring died down a notch, going back to their usual emerald green before hitting mine. He cleared his throat before trudging up to the bedside. "I assume you know what happened," he says, examining the drip bag with his hawk-like eyes, his hands still crossed. I met his gaze sharply. "As a matter of fact, I do." He gazed down to my face, and before I knew it, his eyes began to avoid mine. moving to my IV drip attached to my forearm instead. He sticks his hand out, to which I'm skeptical if I should lay my hand on his. After consoling myself that he was a pactor and that I had no choice, I drop my left hand on his. His hand's gentle to the touch, soft as a feather you could say, until he squeezed it firmly. Extreme wolfsbane poisoning. The wolfsbane was eating away at your cells, especially your wolf cells, nearly putting your wolf bond to extinction. It could have damaged your wolf severely or either could have killed you. You know. He drags a seat on the bed, his body slightly pressing against mine. I look away, trying to not make my fear of needles visible as he produces some cotton and gauze from the bedside drawer, one hand still wrapped around mine. He caresses my hand firmly before tracing his fingers up to my IV drip. I prop my head against the headboard as he lays my hand down facing upwards, on the bed like a test subject ready for operating. Hold you breath if you have to, but don't release tension from your arm until I don't say to. He says, looking up for my signal to start. I bite the inciting of mouth as I nod. I don't know why, but I choose to watch instead of looking away as he gently tugs on the tube from the needle, dismantling and pulling the connection apart and then yanking out the tape attached to my skin. He places the swap of cotton by my skin directly under my needle end as he drew the sharp tip of the needle out. He covers the area with the cotton completely. I exhale loudly through my mouth, not able to remember holding it in the first place. The sting was long gone and now he was wrapping a gauze around the area when he spoke. Not a needle fan, I guess. I laughed unwillingly. Oh, not really, doctor. A smirk made its way up his face, his focus still on the bandaging. Antonio. I'd prefer you call me Antonio instead of doctor. I hem suspiciously, trying to understand his game here. Sure thing, Antonio, but on one condition. You have to call me Nora instead of Luna. He doesn't move his eyes once. As you wish, Nora. I let a faint smile curve up, as he finishes the last round of bandaging. Ready to go? Of course. I reply, already throwing off the sheets. Okay. Dial it down a notch now, Nora. Your E's still recovering from the wolfsbane poisoning. It's still in your system, remember that. And that's why your wolf isn't appearing for now. She'll gradually reappear, but for that you need to take it easy. Antonio explains, rising up. I promise to take it easy to myself and to Antonio, as I take a heavy breath before swinging my legs off the bed and sliding them into my red flats, resting by my bedside. You better want to change, he says, glancing at my stained jeans. Right. I note to myself as I heave my body from the bed before instantly falling directly into Antonio's arms. W. I said easy now. Didn't I? He scolded, steadying my waist with his hands wrapped around them. His body was pressed against mine from behind, watching my every move. He had an extremely muscular and toned body for a doctor, which I found unusual. Sorry, I whisper, a faint blush of color appearing to my cheeks. Attempting to take a step forward away from his embrace, I end up collapsing back right into his arms. He brushes some hair past my ear, his grip tightening from around my waist, his claws digging in my flesh regardless of my multiple layers of clothes. It was like if the clothes weren't there in the first place to begin with. Suddenly the temperature decreases and becomes icy as I feel his warm breath fly past my ear. My breathing coming hard from my rib cage as his fingers were woven around my waist and tangled amongst my hair. My words were lost as I left with nothing but my hard breathing. For once I wished I could catch one word of assurance from June because she was the only one I knew who could motivate me enough to kick this doctor's ass despite my kind nature. I decided looking him in the eyes and asking him what the hell was he doing was an awful idea, especially when his fingers were inches away from twirling me around. My throat suddenly gets dry and irritated, a tightness beginning to form in my lowest pit of my stomach and chest as I beginning to feel exposed. A simple knock from the door arrives as my savior, making his eyes dart up as a growl threatens deep from within his throat. Timid little Leila stood by the door's frame, gazing in with a blank expression while examining the scene before her. Forgive me, drive. Rossi. My Luna but beta-cade and wished that the Luna arrived down as soon as possible. His fingers stop in their tracks and soothes me. He brushes past me, eyeing Leila repulsive lie before shoving her aside out the doorway. She steals a glance back once before turning to see me covering up my bare arms defensively, tears forming in my eyes. She sighs. "I'm sorry, my Luna. I shouldn't have left you alone with him." She sounded genuinely sorry, but I couldn't have believed it. Why? I start but end up losing my trail of thoughts. My emotions were even more twisted and wild than a tornado, one emotion conquering the next. Oh Lord, I can't even explain. "It's okay. It's all right." She hushed us like comforting a child. "They just have to accept you as their Luna, and then no one will do anything." "What do you mean?" I cry, still feeling his ghost touch. "I'm the Luna. Don't they know that?" "They do, but you haven't made your first public appearance with the Alpha until then." "Until then, do I sit still and look pretty? Or what?" "Oh, and how come I need the Alpha to make an appearance with?" I growl, spitting the word alpha like a bad apple. My anger getting the best of me. I hear her swallow the lump in her throat. She looks at me with horror-filled eyes, but I dismiss them. "Becky's without the Alpha. They wouldn't consider you the Luna no matter what." Her voice quivers. "Why?" I scream. "Answer me now." She flinches from my sudden rage, but that doesn't stop her from looking me in the eye. Her eyes shone with their usual innocence. Because no matter what, a female can only be recognized by her mate's name and rank. Even her own blood parent's name doesn't hold any valve to be seen in the ranking system. Her voice was emotional as if she was forced to recite on a daily basis. Some part even seemed like as if she believed it. To her surprise, instead of replying, I laugh madly. "That's just sexist. What a pathetic excuse." "Luna, it's no excuse. It's written in the pack laws, and must be obeyed if one may not want to face the consequences." Leila answers dangerously, biting her lower lip before saying the next part. "Or facing the wrath of the Alpha himself, for he was the one to create it in the first place." 15. Wedding flashback. Ryan's POV. Her once flirtatious brown eyes now drooped with heaviness as her once melodious voice, now sounding slurred. Her once smooth, flawless tone was now no more than a cry of pain. Her once perfect smile now turned to nothing more than a forgotten ghost. Everything about her now seemed long ago. As Xavier caught her by the waist, her knees gave up from under her, leading to his broad frame crumpled down to the ground along with hers. Christine's eyes didn't leave his for a second, and as her blood-stained hand slowly found its way to his cheek, and as her hand caressed his cheeks, I could see the tears forming from his eyes. Eventually Mia, who was still shaken by trauma, scrambled her way towards Christina's, taking up her other side. She immediately began to apply pressure with her trembling hands pressed firmly against the wounds, her blood scarring Maya's hand, struggling to keep herself awake. I saw a couple of tears fall down from her eyes, slicing through her pale cheeks, down to cold hard ground where they were dissolved into a pool of her fallen blood. I turned my attention back to the space gray wolf that had wounded Christina to see it snapping back at another wolf whose dark chocolate brown fur I recognized. I rose to my feet, heaving Angel up along. "Go to Christina and stay here." I squeezed her shoulder with one hand as the other was folded around hers. I could not only sense her fear erupting from within, but also visibly see it before my eyes. Her smiling lips bent into a frown with despair. Her vivid brown eyes washed away from its life now replaced with anxiety. Her forehead creased with worry. Her lips pursed, but somewhere within I knew she wanted to say something or more like protest. Instead she nods silently, swallowing down her complaints. I love you. Angel's whisper softly but still audible enough for me to hear. "I love you too," I reply shortly. "Now go." She lays a warm kiss on my lips before reluctantly pulling away from my embrace, scurrying herself away in the direction to where Christina laid. My eyes darted back to the scene where the two wolves were. They appeared to circling each, snapping their sharp canines every now and then. Despite the gray wolf being at a disadvantage of its slightly smaller size, It continued to flash its sharpened canines at us. Need help? I ask. Mind, linking Zane. None needed, brother. I can't teach this rogue its spot myself. He snarled. From that I knew it was Elsie in full control. Not Zane. I cowed and helped but smirk. If an alpha usually has wolf full control, it means a guaranteed death wish for the opponent. Just when I go to ask Elsie something, the grey wolf suddenly leapt forward. Which though? Zane suspected this move beforehand. He effortlessly dodged from his view and lashed out on its side with his canines digging into its side. The wolf howled from pain for about a second before biting into Zane's neck. Blood seeped off both of their fur, but that didn't stop them from lashing out at each other. Not only could I feel the sting of the bite on Zane's neck burning along my neck, but also I could feel Zane's as well as his wolf's rage fueling his emotions. Emotions were getting in the way of his judgment, and I prayed it would let made an effect on Zane. In any way, that he won't mess up and hurt himself in the process. It was not long before the once polished floors had become a canvas of a war ground, where they were stroked with blood and carved with bitter tears. The once silent walls were now ringing with snarls. The peaceful sanctuary turned into a battlefield. A high-pitched whine draws my attention out of my thoughts. A wolf was thrown off the risen platform, against the rows of pews, its blood dripping off its body, spotting the ground. Zane in. Someone screams, its voice strained with a gish. My feet became rooted to the ground as they become too heavy to move. Time freezes as I realize the scream erupted from me, and as a consequence of my scream, I heard another scream chimed in a female's scream. Following up with that scream, another howl rang out, but this time the howl carried along the cry of sadness. My wolf ached from agony as I watched helplessly. I tore my eyes away from the sight of my bleeding brother to where I heard the scream from. The sight of Angel having to hold Mia back was disturbing enough, but seeing Christina on the ground not moving and turning ghostly white was even worse. Mia cried and thrashed against Angel's restraint, begging to go to Zane. Her hair flew everywhere, mingled with her wet tears as her body thrashed against Angel's body. It wasn't long before Angel's gripped loose end, and as Mia tore away from her, rushing to the stairway down to the pews, I raced to the stairway beforehand, blocking her way down. Ryan, please no. Her voice more shaken up, and the crying wasn't helping. Ryan, I have to see him just this once. Mia HES alright. He'll be just fine. Don't give me fake sympathy, Ryan. Mia growled. HES your twin brother, goddamn it. I wanted to yell, but Gray told me otherwise. Don't be irrational. Gray spoke. Chest hurt. Take her to safety and let her take all her frustration out. For Zaina's sake. Oh, and don't worry about Elsie. HES still beating. I bite my lip, pushing Mia away from the stairs. Gray told me HES fine. Don't worry about him, how about his safety? She shrieked madly. Celeste says HES hurt. HED want your safety first. I say calmly, sighing afterward as if the words weighed me down. I sense Ariel's Angel's wolf, furious snarl on my mind. I look behind Mia, who was now crying within my arms, to see Angel in, between a bronze wolf and Christina. She appeared ready to fight, but her body told me otherwise. My wolf takes over, as I drag Mia by the wrist until I'm a few steps away before jumping into my wolf form. I feel numb as Gray takes over, transforming into my wolf state with my fur now spurting out. The wolf attacks her, scratching her forearm in the process, but before he could strike again, I leapt forward before the bronze wolf could, attacking it on its side with surprise. It yelps in pain as I sink my canines in while I hover in the shadows as Gray rips the wolf, who was a threat to outmate, apart. I spot Mia help Angel up, holding her injuries arm with care and hugging her close. If it weren't my wolf, I would have smiled. After I was satisfied dealing with the Rouge, who was unconscious on the ground in their wolf form, bleeding quite severely, I trudged up to where Angel and Mia stood. Second Mia saw a glance of me coming. She took a step back to where Christina and knelt Ed down to take her pulse. I knew Xavier was too busy, murdering the wolf that had thrown Zane to care for Christina at the moment. Angel glanced down, and a smile settled upon her tensed-up face. Just when I saw the injury on her forearm, my wolf whimpered. She kneeled down, fluffing my fur and the spot behind my ear with her long nails. Instinctively, I allow my tongue trace itself along her wand, her warm blood slipping into my mouth, and as the wound sealed itself, Angel gave a sigh of relief. "Thank you, Gray," she said, her eyes pulsing black and back to brown in under than a second. My wolf melted from her words, and as I took back control, the groan from the hinges of the large wooden door seals our attention. It was a handful of guards who had spilled in from the main door. Luckily, they were our men, along with a couple of females and specialized doctors. Shock illustrated their faces when they caught a glimpse of one of their alphas crushed against the pews and drenched in blood, another snipping at the dead body of Rouge, and one of their Luna unconscious on the ground while the other was crumpled on the floor, fussing, weeping. After blinking away twice, they divided up, scattering away in pods to where they were needed. Jordan Zane S. Beta rushed immediately to Zane, who was currently unconscious under a pile of crushed wood with along 3 other warriors and a doctor. The moment Mia saw them approaching Zane, she instantly ran to Jordan and squeezed him, her sparkling eyes seasoned with tears. Jordan, who remained utterly confused about what to do, just patted her back. Xavier S. Beta and his 5 warriors rushed to him and huddled around him as he shifted back and slipped a pair of baggy jeans on. His eyes were hollow, his jaw clenched after seeing Christina, Kale on the floor. Christina now had 3 pack doctors and several assistants encircled around her, preventing us to catch a glimpse of her. I saw Xavier dash up the stairs to her with his Beta and warriors trailing directly behind. The doctors spreaded and bowed as Xavier ignored them, kneeling down to stroke her flawless hair. And my childhood buddy and Beta started to approach Angel and I with his team of warriors, his face not looking happy. I stepped away from Angel, feeling the ghost of her hand still hovering above my ear, and our Esme and Eshel friend, AGNS, appears from behind, her flat blonde hair housing behind her. She ushered Angel away while my men circled me, giving me privacy to shift back into where the jeans they had handed me. "Things aren't looking so great," Aer said, speaking softly so only I and the warriors could hear. "No one else." "You think?" I exclaimed, combing my fingers through my hair, making him frown. "I was referring to this damage," he snapped harshly, dismissing it with a wave of his hand. "I meant in the packs." I tilted my head, waiting for a better explanation. "As if you may not be able to see, and we've just been attacked upon by Rouges. Christina and Zane are both hurt physically, and Xavier has been mentally after seeing his mate nearly ripped to shreds. Now it's not the best time to discuss trivial pack issues," I exclaim. I was about to turn to leave when he added, "I mean, there have been unusual stuff going on in the packs. Not only ours, but your other two brothers' pack too, and I feel as they're connected to this attack." I frown, failing to understand. "What do you mean?" I crossed my hands above my bare chest, and as I saw a GNSS body hugging Angel's, I listened sharply to every word. I've been getting reports from the other 2 betas as well about pack members going missing from all over our packs and turning up in different parts of our territory along the pack borders, from females to male of all ages. Each of their body has been brutally burned with gasoline, and when we've asked the doctors to do an autopsy report, they've said as if they'd been experimented on before being burnt. They found certain chemicals in their cells which were meant to mutate their wolf genes, making them stronger of some sort, but that's just one of their many theories. He hissed as if the words infuriated him. "How is that connected to this attack?" and I growl, my patience sticking away by the second. "I was getting to that," he snapped. He took a step closer, dismissing the others, and eyed everyone around us suspiciously before speaking. The victims' bodies had a tattoo of 3 rings overlapping each other with a blaze of fire on top, on their inner forearms. That can't be a coincidence that this mark was also found these wolf's forearm as well. My eyes gave him a dagger at glance before continuing. "How long has this been going on for?" I growled. Why didn't anyone mention anything about this before? Andor sighed, his eyes drifting away to Agnes. Sadly, the bodies have been going missing and turning up in 2015 for as far as we know, but unfortunately it never caught our attention because of victimization. Single elderly, abandoned orphans, forgotten family members. This connection was made recently. He lowered his tone even more than before, after Ren's body turned up a little over 3 months ago. My eyes pitched up and gazed at my childhood buddy empathetically. Ren was an RS younger sister who was studying psychology in an university close to the edge of Xavier's pack. Even Andar was attending that university with his sister, studying criminology until I offered him a spot as my beta when I needed the help over 4 years ago. Until then, Zane and me had Jordan as both of our beta. But when he said he cowled and handled a pack, I was left with the job of appointing one. He gladly accepted and said he never regretted it. But now his eyes were telling me he regretted every bit of that decision, even though he never expressed it. I'm sorry. How do you find out? I asked gently, not wanting him to be so glum that I cowled and have blamed him for being so. I would have been the same if something happened to Nora like what happened to Rennie. Dental records, he said briefly, not wanting to explain more. A perfect match. Andor hung his head. But that's not all, Ryan. I bite my tongue and nod to signal him to carry on. This case of bodies turning up hasn't been happening in our pack only. The neighboring packs we have alliances with are also experiencing cold cases similar to ours. Burnt experimented pack members with the same burning fire over 3 rings tattoo. Okay then. I say. Yell anyone else. Nope. Not for now. I was hoping to tell all 3 of guys all at once, but apparently it's not the best time. I was hoping you could tell Xavier and Zane yourself. And R spoke, lightening up. Of course, and also, if you could please send a copy of the autopsy to me would be appreciated. I add, no problemo. Consider it done, he said confidently. Thank you, and I say, looking at him sadly. I know it can be tough losing someone you love. Believe me, not only me, but Xavier, Zane and Nora. We all know the pain. We're here for you if you even need anyone. Andar was a single brother and had his sister only, but now he was alone. The most I could do was offer my condolences on behalf of my siblings. He nods firmly, looking lost in his own thoughts. Oh, and about Nora. Forgive me for not coming earlier. I was just so caught up in these cases. Paperwork and stuff, but anyway, back to the point. I wanted to say your choice of having Nora marry Alpha Damon was the worst decision ever. The last person on Earth you'd want your sister to get married to, he said cautiously. I know, but the conditions were just so. Extremely out of our hands, and I tried to explain lowly. I get it. But still, I care for her as my own sister too. You know, Nora is like another version of Ren for me, and her marrying the Alpha was a reckless decision. No matter how you state it, he argued. And please. The worst Alpha alive. I know that, but her mate. I can't change that. I defend, raising my voice. Instead of arguing more, Andar shakes his head disappointingly. But you could have saved her. How do you know he won't do what been doing the other? To her. I suck my breath in. Can you even hear yourself? You aren't making any sense. I mean, how do you he won't experiment on her like done to the other? He hisses. I haven't got enough proof, but I'm dead sure. Whatever's happening is Beckus of the Red Blood Pack in that so-called Alpha. I wanted to deny, but who could forget all those horror tales from the Red Blood Pack? They had the label of the most ruthless pack in North America because of it. How can you be so sure? His eyes flash up to mine, holding nothing more than rage and anger. I know for a fact. That tattoo that has been appearing on those victims and these wolves who just attacked you guys can only be found on the Red Blood Pack member's arm. It's their pack mark, and they only brand their own with that every mark. 16 wedding duties. Damon's POV. Get your damn ass up. Dill unbarked. Before the sun could grace me with its annoying rays. I grumble irritably. muttering some cusses at Dylan angrily while rolling my head around on my pillow at the same time. Resting my head on the pillow with my hand tucked beneath and while breathing in through my nose. Something soft landed directly on my face, covering it whole. What the I swear, brushing the thing off. In one quick jarring motion I had shoved it off my face and rolled my eyes to my left grudgingly. Her chocolate-kissed hair was brushed upwards, revealing her backless dress that was dipped down till her waist and that I would have killed to open, because of her back being practically inches away. Her clear silicone bra was sharply visible with my adjusted wolf sight. Her strap constricted with every breath she took, making the temptation even worse. My eyebrows rose greedily, and just when my fingers were millimeters away, Dylan began his usual matrant. "Don't you dare. Can't you see that she's sleeping? You can't just touch her like a creep when she's asleep." He scolded like the overprotective mother he is. "Oh, just shut up. Spare me in the morning at least from your daily lectures." I grunt through gritted teeth before blocking him out. I steal a last glance at my easy ticket for some quick pleasure before hopping out of bed. I had decided that keeping her away from me would inflict more pain. Not just for her, but for her wolf as well, and that would eventually lead to her desperation for me to increase. Also because I knew if I did lay a finger on her when Dylan wouldn't have wanted, he would have killed me, just with his lectures alone. After dealing with that, I hopped out of bed wearing a tight scowl upon my face as the sunlight poured in, muttering as many swear words as I could. I dragged myself to the shower where I stripped out of my tuxedo and jumped into the flow of steaming water. Like about 5 minutes later, I was stepping out of the shower with only a single towel wrapped around my waist. Beads of water slipped from my scalp, down my toned chest to where they meet the towel and dissolved. I brushed my teeth and ran a hand through my wet hair before unlocking the door and meeting the cool outside breeze, along with the heavenly scent of freshly plucked roses blended with the scent of vanilla. While trudging to the closet, from the corner of my eye spotted her chest rise and drop with very breath, making me stop on my tracks. I swear her scent was enhancing my sense in ways I didn't possible. My mind froze, starting to think about her intoxicating scent and how her hourglass-like body was perfectly melted with mine. The thought of her body pressed against mine was desirable enough, but to think that her scent was now woven amongst the bed sheets was gnawing at me. I wanted to caress her face and weave my fingers through those locks of dark swirls. Her silky feather, like hair scattered over my pillow. Her backless back against the mattress. The sheets coiled around her waist. For once, I was actually jealous of the sheets coiled around her, for they were allowed to touch her in ways I couldn't. After God knows how long, I finally snapped out of her trance wearing a tighter scowl than before. Just not supposed to weaken us. I spat disgustedly, repeating over and over in mind as I yanked out my clothes from their hangers and wore them. I step out of the closet seconds later fully dressed, along with my desires finally under control. Hopefully, suddenly it felt as if the temperature had increased and the collar of my dress shirt was suddenly itching to come undone. I had only glanced at her to reconfirm that they were truly under my control, but she was now rolled to her right with her back facing me, not helping the slightest. Her gentle breathing causing more havoc than necessary. Driven with despair, I rush out the door, down the stairs to the kitchen. During the entire way down, her remaining smell was still lingering directly under my nose and visions of her body clouding my mind. Deciding breakfast was going to help with her scent literally above me and still on my mind, I avert my route to the garage instead so I could just leave this hellhole. I rush past the various models and styles of cars, to the end where my office car sat, starting my black Ferrari and steering it out before reaching the main gate. The gates yawned open with a speeding BMW approaching us, steering to my left and overtaking the side. Our cars paused side to side. "Morning, brother." He perked, with a satisfied smirk. His eyes were flushed with alcohol as well as his voice. "Shut up," I retort smoothly, making him straighten up. "Who peed in your Cheerios?" He mused with wide eyes, taking a sip of his flask. "Didn't I tell you just to shut up?" I prod angrily, boring my eyes into his. "Just go and deal with her. Tell her everything she wants to know but not where I am. Can you manage that much?" Before I could hear his reply, I step on the gas pedal, moving away at a rapid rate, dashing out the wide gates. You know she had a name, right? Caden responds via mind link. Like I didn't know. I mutter, gripping the steering wheel harder. I block him while driving to the pack office, which was about 10 minutes away. Luckily, the influence of her scent was slowly terminating on my senses, rewarding me back with full self-control. As satisfaction washes over me, a tall glass structure, standing strong and independent, comes into view, surrounded by sky-high evergreen trees. When the gate to my office coming into a few meters distance, they simply sprang open beforehand. I drove and parked in my reversed parking spot in the front of the building and killed the engine. Springing out, I see my secretary, Tracy, happily clicking her heels while approaching me with her clipboard and her flirtatious bronze eyes begging for attention. Good morning, my alpha. She arches her head down slightly, smiling coldly. She wore a deep red sleeveless blouse, which also had a golden zipper slicing down the front, that was neatly tucked into the pocket of her black pencil skirt, which was hugging her waist down to her mid. Her blouse's front zipper was down about 4 centimeters, giving a clear view of the interior and clothes beneath when she arched over. Just when I started to brighten up and began to think that my day would go by great, guess who came bursting back? Fuck off, Tracy. Dillon screamed, making her flinch back surprisingly with her bronze-plated eyes wide. She fumbled while trying to brush her straightened blonde hair back and covering some last night hickeys turning purple along her neck. Forgive me, Alpha. She stuttered. I came here to inform you of an issue that recently occurred that's Caden's job to handle. I inform her, sweeping past her up the flight of stairs. The guards do their usual routine bow, open the door, and lock the door afterwards, sealing the outside away. Everyone stands and mutters their greetings, but ignoring them all. I take the elevator up to the 30th floor where my office stood. Seconds later, I arrive and eagerly dash out the elevator. Thank the gods above, for when I made this office I had reversed the entire floor to myself. My body tiredly gave up and slumped down in my chair, allowing myself to sink in. Just when I was catching some blissfully relief, the phone rang. God damn it. I swear while pressing the speaker button. Who the fuck is it? It was Tracy's cat-like voice, asking for permission to enter my floor. Sighing, I allow her. I could hear the ding of the elevator instantly, following along with the sound of her pencil heels hitting the hard floor. Alpha, she purrs, flashing her cat-like smile, her clipboard gone and her hair thrown to one side, revealing one entire side of past love bites. It was as if the morning occurrence had been wiped from existence. What is it, Tracy? I ask rather harshly, not in the mood for playing games with her. She didn't seem to mind my cold tone as she rose her head. Beta Caden called. He said I'd take the matter to the Alpha to be dealt with. What is it? I feel my pressure rise into my face, but I try to keep it within its limit. I could imagine Caden's crooked little smile glaring at me. After your departure with the Luna, there was an attack on the Silver Rose pack in the church. She spat the word Luna and Silver Rose, empathizing her hatred. Within that attack, one Alpha and Luna were severely injured, while the others remained intact. She rolled her eyes like it was a boring history report she was forced to announce. I sneer at that. It was true I wanted the Silver Rose pack under the RedBlood name and control, so the news of their survival was quite devastating. Nevertheless, I had their precious sister, which Luna and Alpha. I asked curiously. Secretly, I wished Wyke Alden it'd be all 3 Alphas and their mates. But alas, I needed to know. Alpha Zane and Luna Christina. She huffed tiredly. They're not mates. I know that, darling. I wink, keeping my tone neutral while making some color rise to her cheeks. Were you the one who? She stopped mid-sentence for me to fill in the dots. Alas, no. My darling. I frown, fiddling with the glass ball on my tabletop. But whoever did this was smart enough to plan it when we weren't here. She slipped her glasses off while shrugging her long platinum hair back. She locked eyes with me as she took a seat on one of the chairs, and placed her perfectly manicured nail under her cheek. I leaned back on my hair, studying her movements. That's not all my alpha, she adds, examining her nails. They suspect us behind the attack because of the dead wolves found. Had our marking on their filthy bodies. Her eyes flash. Impudent. I see her standing up with my hands deep in the folds of my pockets and turning around to gaze out at the view from my large glass which practically surrounding the entire floor. From the vantage point, it displayed the entire area surrounding the building, making it the perfect place to spot movement from a mile away. Foolish Alphys, I scoff. If I wanted to conquer their pack entirely, I would have done the job right and eliminated them all by now. I wouldn't have left a single pup alive in that case. I feel her nails trace my shoulder blades, despite the dress shirt and black vest clinging over my body. Oh my alpha, we could fix that. I could feel her mouth twitch into a crooked grin while she rested her head on my back with her hands hugging my shoulders from under my arms. Fuck off, bitch, before I fucking throw you out this window. Damon growled, returning with full power, along with stabbing throb in the back of my head. She instantly released me, stepping away like I was bomb ready to explode at any second. I hiss, feeling Dylan's words force themselves out of my lips. His grasp grew and grew by the second, giving me a headache. Rage began to flicker in my eyes as Dylan's control constricted around me, suffocating me. My eyes squeezed shut as I hear Tracy's leave the floor. My hands were on my table, my back arched over and my lungs begging for air. What's wrong with you? I snarled breathlessly. The air in the room seemed to have dropped and become stuffy and a challenge to breathe. Our mate, she's in trouble. You have to go to her, he complained. I tug on my collar, trying to rip to free from my neck. It felt like a snake, coiling itself around my neck and slowly tightening and releasing its grip. She's fine. It's you who's not. I defend, rubbing my temple. No, you dumbass. She's not. She's dying. Go to her. He panted, for a second. I thought it was him who cowled and breathed, either considering the way he pleaded me to go to her. Taking advantage of my thinking, Dylan managed to sneak up and seize my control, and from while I was the one hovering in the back. Oh, come on, you Romeo. She's fine now. Give me my control back. I threatened lose ILY as he was too busy flexing my fingers, testing his control to bother. Oh, not now, he replied with a smug look lightening his face. Not till I see my mate, you bastard. He climbed down 30 flights of stairs or more likely, skipped 17 of those stairs, and hopped into my now. His car. He sped away in lightning speed with me lingering in the back of his mind, and with me not enjoying a moment. Hey, you want to know something? I cheer, hoping to caught his attention. What? He asked clearly amused, his entire concentration given to the road. You know that you're ass writin' that I hate you. I inform him with false pleasure. Good to know. And for your info, I deeply despise you two. He barks, slowing the vehicle down. Oddly familiar silver-plated gates flash into sight, and when they stretched apart, I was greeted with a familiar structure that I without hesitation recognized. You said she was in danger, I retorted furiously, my jaw tightening. I did, he replied, steering the car to the front porch. She's at home, I exclaim, my voice loudening. Caitlin's here with her, so how is she supposed to be in danger? He cheers, his eyes darting back and forth, surveying the surrounding. Just because she's home doesn't mean she's safe. Can't you feel her breathing aching with agony from within her rib cage? Can't you feel her breathing coming out hard and escaping her lips softly? I scoff, rolling my eyes, making his jaw twitch. You're a bastard of a mate. I know, Dylan. I know. I sigh. It's my part of my desirable nature. Now it was his turn to roll his eyes. You remember what her brother had said when you first meet her. He steps out the car, banging the door shut and jogging up the stairs. If I remember correctly, they said to stay the F away from her, which you, by the way, are doing the opposite of what they had said. Shut up. He growls frustratingly, jolting the door open. He rises his nose, sniffing the air cautiously. What it is? Can you smell her cooking from here? Is she making pancakes? Cause if she is, then I'm starving. I realize, making his pace quicken in the direction of the kitchen. It's Wolfsbane, you moron. He snarls, making my eyes darken as well as my fist. He rushes to the kitchen, his steps quickening and arriving just in time for us to see the scene unfold. My mate looked younger, curled and shriveled up in a ball with her knees to her chest, her back arched against the cabinets, tears flickering off her lashes. Her eyes were glued shut with her face twitching from agony, changing every second. A growl erupts from my throat, enhancing Dylan's growl as well, making it ring more vividly. My mate grimaced from our voice, shaking her head furiously as if her head cowled and abide from our voice. My headache had driven past the tolerating point and had now left behind a mild and manageable throb. The Wolfsbane had caused our headache and breathing problem earlier, he informed, passing a dagger-red glare at Caden, who casually shrugged away. Leila, who was kneeling beside her, shifted uncomfortably from the sight of me. She murmured Delpha after rising and stepping away, giving me access to step in. My feet unwillingly moved to her side and my arms soothed her petite body against mine as I carried her bridal style to our room. She whimpered and nuzzled her head in the crack of my neck, searching for comfort. Dylan forced me to rest my chin on her forehead as I coaxed her. It's all right. I'm here now. I wanted to breath with her hair scattered around me and her scent hovering over me, but Dylan prevented me, blocking my end to my own darkness.